Hi guys, now we want to continue and I have to explain a little bit the theory because as we have seen before, air resistance and aerodynamics, that is most important on the bike. So we have to explain that a little bit. So our topic now is about air resistance and aerodynamic on a bike. So after we have discussed that, then we will discuss in the next session then about this is our session now, aerodynamics on the bike, and then in the next session we are coming how we can apply these what we have learned here on the bike. So I remove that, and now coming to the next slide. If we are on the bike like that and we are driving, then we always feel that we have some headwind, wind from the front, and that is related to our speed. So if we are going with 30 kilometers per hour against the wind, then our feeling is like that the wind comes to us with 30 kilometers per hour. But beside that, we also have the real wind, that what we call wind. So what we have to think about is how is the combination from this headwind from our own speed and then the real wind which is there also without our speed. So maybe we make a small drawing on that. Let's say we are going into this direction. That was the wrong one, sorry. Undo. And now we are going into this direction. And this is now, let's say, 30 kilometers per hour. So what we feel is a wind. Better we take another color. So what we feel is a wind from the opposite side also should be the same length, 30 kilometers per hour. And we are here, that is here our bike, yeah. So we are going into the direction up, and we feel that the wind is coming to us like that. So and now let's say we are going again with 30 kilometers per hour, but we have a wind, a real wind with 10 kilometers per hour. So let's make drawing on that. Then we feel wind like this, 30 kilometers per hour, and then we have to add another one, 10 kilometers per hour. So the total is this, that is what we really feel, 40 kilometers per hour. So, and if we have it the other way around, So we are going again with 30 kilometers per hour, but the wind comes from the back. Then we feel we have still our 30 kilometers per hour. But now we have 10 kilometers per hour from the back. So what we feel is only 20 kilometers per hour. So everybody knows that it is always better to go with the wind from the back. Yeah. Also, so we have to add the real wind and the wind from our own speed. Okay, let's go back. Sorry. And now we make it a little bit more complicated. And now we have the case that we are going into one direction as before, and we get then the wind again. But this time we feel we have the wind from our own speed is like this, and then the wind comes from the side, like that. So then what we really feel, the wind against us, is like this. So that is then the wind we feel, and you really can feel it. If you turn your head, you can feel the wind coming into your face. So, and now what we have here is an angle that, sorry, that was the wrong one. So an angle like here, and that is called the yaw angle. So now what is also important is that we had here our speed 30 kilometers per hour, but what is about if you have only a speed of 20 kilometers per hour, so a little bit slower? Then we have 20 kilometers per hour, then we have the wind from the side, and now we have the angle, and now you see that the angle here is larger than the one before. So conclusion is, if you are at lower speed, you have a larger yaw angle, and if you are at very high speed, like the professionals, 45 kilometers per hour, they have a very low yaw angle. And this yaw angle is very important. You also, if you look into the internet, you will find it very often. Later on we will need this angle to discuss the wheels. Okay, now closing this and coming to the next one. I make myself, sorry. Put myself into where? Into the middle. So if you look here on the right side on this person, so, and you see like the wind is coming, going onto the person, onto the bike, then I think it is quite clear that the most important part, if it comes to aerodynamic, is this part, very big. We have the legs, and And then, very small, actually, we have the bike. Yeah. And as a body, head, arms, legs, that is very important. Beside that, also important is that a cylinder, like the legs, the arms, in the frame we have cylinders, yeah. That is always the enemy of the aerodynamics. That is something which we should avoid. So, we are going to the next one. Here, a picture from Swiss side, that is already aerodynamic position, and you can see the problems in aerodynamic, but in this aerodynamic position. So, and if we look on that, then you can see that very important is this part. Blue is bad. Yeah. Then we have here at the wheel. We have here at the wheel the arms, as I said before. We have here everything in the front, and here the hands. Yeah. And you can imagine if this person is sitting up, is not in the aero position, so then the whole upper body will be also a big problem. And I forgot here anything related to the wheels and the shoes especially. So that are all the zones which are problem for aerodynamics. So now we have to discuss the so-called sailing effect that later on will become very important. It is called sailing effect because it's related to a sailing boat. So I don't know if you ever was thinking about how it is with a sailing boat, which is at the shore. Yeah, so here is land, and the other side, which is the white one, is the water. And now the sailing boat is going for fishing into one direction, let's say into this direction, and with using wind, and then the sailing boat has to go back. So let's say the wind is coming from the land. Wrong one, sorry. So the wind comes from the land, and the fishing boat is going out. That you can imagine, that is not so difficult, but then the fishing boat has to come back. How is that possible against the wind? Yes, but it is possible. The sailing boat can sail against the wind, and the sailing boat, I will make a drawing for this, so can do this. By going in a direction, let's say 45 degrees, yeah, to the wind. And here we have the sail, and now the wind is going here around. Yeah. So the wind comes from here, it's going here around and also on the inside, and that makes a low pressure here. So in the end what we have is a force into this direction here. I will make an arrow to it. So then we have a force into this direction, and this will split into two forces, and one is the direction of the boat and the other one is 90 degrees to it. And the 90 degrees, that will only give some drifting, and then we have the keel here below. But this one here is the important one. So the boat will go into this direction, yeah, with this speed, it's not too high, yeah, and then here into the direction. And then if the boat wants to go here, it will turn into this direction and will arrive. So that is called the sailing effect, and that is very important, yeah, because the important thing is that you get a force which is actually against the wind, yeah, and that is something which we later on will discuss how it works on a bike. So then we have also the sailing effect. At the bike later on we will see we can get the sailing effect here in the frame, and we can also get it at the wheels. Yeah? There it is very important. The guys from this side, they say in fact there's always wind, because the sailing effect we get only if we have real wind, and of course mostly from the side, because the wind comes from one side and the roads are going into any direction, so usually it comes somehow from the right side, from the left side. It can be more from the back, more from the front. What we also always have to keep in mind, for slower rider, which are maybe the most of us, yeah, the sailing effect is larger, yeah, also the yaw angle, sorry, that was again the wrong one. Yeah, so the yaw angle is larger for slower rider like me and maybe also you, yeah, and very interesting, for slower rider the time saving is higher, and that I would like to discuss with some data in the next sheet. So here we have the saving through aerodynamics. I took it from the website of Swiss side, and mostly the measurements are taken at 45 kilometers per hour, but they sometimes redo it or they calculate it to speed which is maybe more appropriate to us, and that is 35 kilometers per hour. So that is the one which is more relevant for us, I would say. Here we have the numbers which was measured by Swiss side. They have a wheel with 50 millimeters depth, and here we have the numbers, and this is at 35 kilometers per hour. You will need about 180 watt for this, and then we have a drag reduction of, for this one is 6.7 watt, yeah. And now we have the time savings, and it is, if you are doing a triathlon with 40 kilometers on the bike, it is 1 minute. If you do the middle distance, it is about 2.5 minutes. And if it is the full Ironman, it is 4.5 minutes. Yeah? So that is the savings. That is clear. The longer you are going on the bike, the more you save in time. Although the watt is always the same. But if you are at 45 kilometers per hour, or the professionals are, they have savings which are higher in watt. So that looks good for them. Yeah, we have it here. They have 14 watt savings, but on the other hand, they save only on 40 kilometers, only 48 seconds. And on 90 kilometers, about 150. And in 180, it is 3 minutes and a half, more or less. Yeah? So we are slower, but our time saving is larger. So what I did, I took these numbers and made some calculation or estimation. So in Olympic distance, where we are going at 40 kilometers, or for 40 kilometers, if I calculate that, then we will have for 1 watt saving, we are faster 9 seconds. Yeah, each watt brings 1 second. And if it is a full Ironman, so then it is 40 seconds per watt. Or you can say, if we can save later on 20 watts, we get 3 minutes in Olympic distance, which is already quite good. Olympic distance is maybe 1 hour, 20 minutes or so. And if we can even save 40, then we get 6 minutes. Yeah, not bad. And if you look into the internet, usually you find numbers for 45 kilometers per hour. That is how they measure. But I used always the numbers if I have for 35 kilometers per hour, or I recalculated it based on the factor. The factor we have here between these two, and watt. So I calculated 6.7 divided by 40.2, and then I came to the factor. It's 0.5, a half. Yeah. So you can say if you see something in 45 kilometers per hour and there's a saving of 10 watt, then for us it's maybe something like the half, 5 watt. Yeah. So that will be important later on, because everything we calculate based on what later on. So let's go to the conclusion. Aerodynamics improvements are very important. They can save much time on a bike, and especially for lower riders. Don't think that that is only for professionals. Yeah, you can save a lot with this. So with this, thank you very much. That was the end of part 2, and please have a look to the next session, because then we will apply all that aerodynamics we just discussed and see how we can get savings on a bike.